Hey everybody, it's time for another Saved from the Scrapper video. That's going to be the contents of this box, which I'll get to in a moment. But before I get to that, I wanted to include a couple of odds and ends that I kind of left out in some previous videos. So first thing I wanted to mention was the Rollaway Kennedy toolbox that I showed you guys that I picked up, that I kind of was iffy about whether or not I got a good deal or not, because it's a little rougher than I hoped. Anyways, that same individual, he had this set of taps, which I think he had said that I think he said it was a $100 set of taps. It's Craftsman, and sure enough, the list price on this is $99.95. But of course, Craftsman's always having some kind of a sale. And at the time when I checked, I think they were selling these on sale for $70, so like 30% off. And I've got so many taps, I didn't think at first I wanted it. It's a 39-piece set, but then what caught my eye was it's a metric tap and die set. And right now, I think most of the old taps that I've been collecting and basically pooling together have been standard taps, and the only metric taps I can think of that I have are some really cheap Asian-made taps in a really cheapo set. So I thought it'd be nice to have a nice set of metric taps, and these look like they've never been used. They look brand new, and we've got a thread gauge in here, a little adjusting screwdriver, the die holder, the tap handle, small tap handle, several different size metric taps and dies. The whole set right there in excellent condition. I got that for 20 bucks. So that I am quite pleased with. I think that was a steal. When I was working on the wood shaper, which I need to get back to, I'd gone and got some bearings, and I forgot to show you guys that when I went to my buddies over there at Bearing Specialties, they were kind enough to give me not one, but two bearing books. So they gave me an NTN book and a ball and roller bearings, and an SKF book. And what's great, there's a lot of really good information in here that I saw on their website previously, but it's nicer sometimes to just have it in hand like this. And there's descriptions of bearing types, bearing basics is all in the front here. There's a lot of good information in these books. And then of course in the back, further on, you go into the different bearing categories and you can see what sizes are available as fairly standard sizes. And there's more of the same, and this has some nicer drawings in it in the NTN book. So those are going to be I think valuable additions to the shop. So when I go bearing hunting, I can have an idea of what's available out there. All right, next up, when I went to that used tool store and I picked up that ugly, small, filthy Kennedy toolbox that he had 20 bucks on it. I think I got it for 18 bucks. That one there. While I was there, I picked through his big table in the center of the place, just filled with all kinds of junk, and he's got sign up there, and depending on what the quality or level of junk he has on that table, that dictates whether or not he's saying 4 for $1 or 2 for $1 or 3 for $1 or whatever. This last time I was there, he was at I think 2 for $1. So I went through and I found this stuff here. First, let me talk about this. This wasn't on that table. This was actually on a shelf with some other stuff. And I took a quick look at it and realized, oh, well, I said, I think that's a mandrel. So I asked to borrow a micrometer, and I mic'd it, and sure enough, it's a mandrel. So that's one less thing I have to make. If I've got something I want to turn the OD of on the lathe, I can put this mandrel between centers, use the arbor press. Well, I don't have an arbor press. Use my shop press to press the part on here and then put it between centers and then machine it. And the beauty is that every time you take it off, you put it back on again, and it should remain concentric to the center by doing it that way. So anyways, this one's even marked 15/16. Not sure how handy that size is going to prove to be. But I think I got this for $1 or $2, so it was worth it, I think. And then on the table of junk, well, actually there was a box of cheap sockets. I went through the box of cheap sockets and I picked out these. I think I paid 25 cents a piece for these, maybe even 50 cents a piece for these. But this is 2, 4, 6 sizes of hex or Allen wrenches that are 3/8 drive. They're cheap Taiwan ones. I've got a cheap Taiwan set of these right now, but they're all metric, and I kept running into a situation where I was using the metric ones on SAE just because I didn't have anything else, and it was fast and easy. I got tired of that. I was going to buy a set. Cheap set at Harbor Freight, I think, is like 12 or 15 bucks. And then I was there and I said, yeah, what the heck, I'll just get these cheap ones and keep them somewhere. Then this is, I guess, this must be from the 2 for $1 table. I don't even know why I grabbed these, but I bought yet 3 more micrometer wrenches. So those will go in the pile of micrometer wrenches I have around here somewhere. I think that one's even broken. I didn't notice that. I think that's supposed to have, yeah, that's supposed to have a tang on the end there that's broken off. 2 flute double-ended end mill, high-speed steel, smaller one. There's one there that's been ground down big time on one end, or is that actually, I think that's snapped off on that end. Gee, I really need to pay more close attention when I'm picking through this junk. A little reamer, I forgot what size this is. Kind of think about it, I don't even think I saw the size on this. Quite possible this started out its life as a longer shanked reamer and it was cut down for some reason. Center drill. Round nose end mill. And a small center drill. Yeah, junk.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So $5 of that pile.
A while back now I showed you guys a green toolbox that had some machinist tools in it that I had bought at auction like 15-20 years ago. And it came with a wooden base that it sat on that was custom made for probably a machinist box, but it just had that green metal box on it. But this, I'd forgotten it, this homemade or shop made vise came with that lot. Now it's got some surface rust on it now. That's mainly because I've had this in an unheated garage that I own. I was going through looking for something in the garage the other day, and I came across the vise, and I said, "Son of a gun! I forgot that was in here even." So, and I figured, well, you know what? Since I just did that whole video not that long ago on that box, I figured I'd take the time. It even was in this oilcloth here, and it's actually pretty nice. You know, somebody did a nice job making this thing. I don't know whether or not this was a, I don't know if this is a senior in a Voc-Tech school. This might have been a project he did. You know, unlike most of these type of items that I find, they usually are marked with pride somewhere by the maker, either for security reasons or just because he wants to, you know, have his name on it because he made it. This one I couldn't find any markings whatsoever, but it definitely has all the earmarks of being a homemade vise as opposed to a you know, a name brand shop made one. But anyways, I like it. You know, I'm not even sure what I'm going to end up using it for, but he's got these grooves on the side here. I'm assuming that's how you would lock it down. But anyways, just thought I'd show you that little vise. Alright, I hit the flea market about 2-3 weeks ago, and the pickings were kind of thin. And this is what I stopped at. There's only one booth there that I spotted anything I was remotely interested in. And I'll tell you, I was looking through it, picking through the stuff, and said, you know, I don't even really want most of this stuff. So what actually happened was I was going through and I was looking through his stuff a few weeks before that, and he had all of his just regular tools and junk, and I spotted this. And I says, oh, first I thought, well, that's a scribe maybe, you know. But then I noticed it was kind of spring-loaded, and I said, son of a gun, I wonder if this is what I think it is. And basically what this is this is an automatic punch. So if you've got a piece of steel you want to mark, so say I want to put a punch mark on this, what I would do is I just line up the tip right where I want it. And that, if you had a magnifying glass, I could show you that actually made a little tiny punch mark. Not much, but it's enough to get you started with a spot drill maybe. But it's an early one. I haven't, yeah, there's a name on it. Let me see if I can get some magnification on this thing. Okay, so that's a Craftsman 40541. It's actually got a number 9 with an underlined and then a space 40541. That's probably the Craftsman part number. But so this is what I originally wanted, and the funny thing was a guy couldn't break a 20, and I wasn't going to make him even try and break a large bill. It was a slow day there. So I said, you know, I don't want it that badly, but I made a mental note of where it was, and then I went back a couple weeks ago, like I said, and I picked it out, and I said, well, I said, Jesus, you know, I'm so cheap. So what I did was I looked through and I found basically this tile right here, and haggled and got that for $5. So I got a Makita grinder, angle grinder wheel, 2 of these thread-in hooks. These are good for hanging bicycles from your floor joists. This drill bit in excellent shape, 5/8. It's got a black coating on it. This actually looks brand new, and it's marked HS. So this set of Peterson Manufacturing Company locking pliers. These are actual vice grips. Okay, I don't bother with the cheap ones, so I should have realized. The punch, and then this little tap handle. Don't even know if there's a name on that. Don't really care. Well, actually, you know, it is nice. It's got the little indentation there, so you can follow it on the lathe. And then this wrench, which I've been kind of just collecting these odd shaped wrenches now for a while. I don't know why. Oh, one more thing at that from the flea market find. I ended up that same day at another vendor. I did spend a whole $1 on this hammer. This hammer is Soft Tough, SOFTUFF number 1. And it's almost got like a double T put together, soft and tough, melded together at the T. So I've never heard of this brand, but it's another non-marring mallet, and I was like, oh, okay. This one it says Compo Cast, which I guess must mean it's some kind of a composite. And this is Indianapolis, USA. Indiana, USA. So I was like, oh, good, a nice non-marring mallet. And so I was pretty pleased that I got that for $1. Guy didn't really care about it. And then I've been using it, and it didn't take too many whacks on things that weren't really that hard for this thing to just start cracking and sending hard little bits of composite material off of here. Seems to have stopped, so I think maybe that was just some of that. So I think it's still going to be okay. What do I want for a buck, right? All right, I've donned my nitrile glove so we can dig into the saved from the scrapper this week's tub. All right, this actually wasn't in the drawer here, but this came from the same location where I got all this other stuff. This is where I bought the two lathes, the Hendy, not the Vernon lathe, but the Hendy and the old Atlas lathe. They both came out of the same estate, and this is all stuff that was going to just be thrown out, and it was more of a, hey, if you want any of this stuff, take it. Well, I took a lot of it. This actually was on the Brown & Sharp horizontal milling machine. If you guys haven't seen, I did a video series where I scrapped a Brown & Sharp milling machine. We sold off a whole bunch of parts to make a lot of Brown & Sharp mill owners around the country that needed parts happy by supplying them with some good used parts because we couldn't get anybody locally really interested in the mill. And then we ended up scrapping the carcass. I've still got the two gearboxes and some other miscellaneous parts that weren't really marketable but are going to make good chunks of steel to maybe make projects out of. So, but the main hulk of the machine, that went to the scrap yard. So we did all right with that, and what I mean by we is the owners of the owners of the estate and we had an agreement where we cut a deal where I got a lot of this stuff, and I helped market the stuff on eBay and other websites to various Brown & Sharp owners around the country. There was a problem with that milling machine where there was something wrong with the drive for the feed, and the gentleman who originally owned the mill at that estate, he rigged up an outboard 120 volt motor that was coupled via this coupling system right here to this reduction drive, okay, and then this had a chain on it that went over to the chain on the inside of the machine. So this was outboard of the machine. So if you really want to see, if you look at the early videos of the scrapping project on that mill, you can look under my playlists, and there's one in there for the Brown & Sharp mill. You can see how this was originally in there. But this is actually a decent little reduction drive, and I had cleaned up the data plate here. It's been painted over and it's oil dirty so that I could see it, and I believe we determined it's a 60-to-1. So for every one revolution input here, for every 60 revolutions here, I believe you get one full revolution on the output. I think that's what it is. But I'll revisit this at some point, because it occurred to me this might be just the ticket I might need on the SIP drill press project when I get to the point where I've got the drill press done and I'm talking about how I'm going to repower it. Just thought I'd show that. We got this funky spanner wrench, and I'm not sure what this goes to, but I grabbed it because it was in the vicinity of the lathes, and I'm not positive, but this may actually have a purpose on the Hendy lathe, on the headstock or something that I'm not aware of. I don't know, but just to be on the safe side, I grabbed it. This is a neat old wrench. This is a, I forget what they call this thing. This one's a number 3. I can't quite see. Alligator, that's what it is. Alligator, you can see, chomp, chomp, chomp. So what you got is you got a smooth side here, and you've got these angled teeth that are raked back. And so by design, what happens with this thing is it tends to, this is kind of small, but if I had something larger, pull a piece of junk out of the box. But it actually is supposed to be jammed on there and be able to grip, and it's not working too well in this. But I grabbed that because, again, I tend to grab these old wrenches and don't always know why. That's but I've seen these on eBay. That's actually a bigger one. Might be a conversation piece. Maybe hang that on the wall. I don't know. Since I got it in my hand, we'll look at this next. This, I think, was on the milling machine. And you can see that's a two-sized, very specific size sockets. You know, that looks like the kind of wrench you'd see hanging around on the back of a Bridgeport or something. I wonder if that would actually fit any of the stuff on the Wells index mill. No, it's not really practical for the index. So, another little wrench. Interesting little wrench there. Some of these look like they were maybe just made for one purpose and one purpose only. There's an interesting one. It's got actually a regular blade screwdriver on the end of it there. Another one of these style. The small one. Look at that one somebody made. I wonder what that started out life as originally. Oh, that's a that's a 1/2-inch drive. Oh, Walden, I think. Worcester. No, something else. Another funky wrench there. I wonder if that started out its life that shape, or if somebody heated it up and made it do that. Clearly it looks like it was cast, judging by that rib on the edge there. Another funky one here. And then this thing, I don't know what the heck this is. It's a piece of hex stock it started out as, but then somebody, looks like somebody really modified the end of this thing, maybe by heating it up and beating it on an anvil, flattened it out. So I don't know what the deal is there. Or maybe it looks like maybe it had a job of maybe prying behind something, maybe to pop off something. I don't know. There's a square one. I might have a chuck in all the chucks that I saved from this estate that actually has use for this as a chuck key, maybe. Another tool holder, open-sided or open-faced tool holder, like the European style. And this one has a boring bar in it. And this is the kind of boring bar that can hold a insert. I think that might not be homemade. I think that might be a genuine, honest to goodness bar. Just a bunch of old wrenches. That one's broken. I like these ones with the S-curves on them. They're kind of neat. That's a Williams. Drop forged, made in the USA. Big bolt, but I noticed, look how skinny the head is. That probably was a bolt used to hold the vise on to maybe the Brown and Sharp mill or a mill. I don't know if that'll fit the slots on my mill. Probably not. Yeah, it's too big for the index. And then probably one of the nicest things I found in this lot was this, here's another one of these arbors or mandrel, but anyways, this one shop made, but this one stepped various diameters, so that could be pretty versatile, I think. So we'll keep that with the other one that I picked up at the tool shop.